So, hello guys, welcome back. And today, what we are going to do is we are going to learn something new today. And as you can see, that in today's uh, video, we are going to do geometrical ideas. Basically, these are very elementary, very fundamental geometrical ideas. And so, let's just quickly go through them and understand what they are. I will try to keep it very real, very practical, and will not make it very bookish. Okay, otherwise one can get bored, but it is good to know these geometrical figures, etc., etc. So let's jump into geometry. Geometry, I have seen like sometimes people enjoy it, sometimes people don't enjoy it, but let me assure you that it is going to be fun, and it is super easy. It is something that you can really see around you, okay, and therefore you can easily understand it. It's unlike other mathematics, which is either variable or number based, and it's difficult to visualize. But geometry is, I will say, 80-90% visual. If you are able to see things, you should be able to understand geometry, and you should be able to see it in real life. So let's not have any stress, and let's have a lot of fun. Okay. So let's get into some basic concepts of geometry, from where geometry actually starts. Let's start with a point. This is a point, this is a point. So if I just put a dot anywhere, okay, that becomes a point. As simple as that. You take your pen or your pencil and you make a dot. That is point. Point, there is no length, there is no breadth. It's just, you can say it's the tiniest unit of geometry. Everything starts with a point. Okay. Now let's start with line segment. Line segment basically is a finite length. Okay. Finite length means the distance is fixed. It has two end points. Basically the distance is fixed. So wherever is end points is basically the point which is at the end. Very simple. And then it will have some distance. 2 centimeter, 3 centimeter, 2 kilometer. It can be anything. That's a line segment. Sometimes we name it. This is point A, this is point B. So this will be named as line segment AB. You can also call it line segment BA. Okay. It makes no difference. That is line segment. You take your scale, you draw a line using that, that becomes a line segment. The only thing that you need to know is that the length is fixed from both the ends. Okay. And there are infinite number of points in a line segment, because you can't say how many points are there. 5 points, 10 points. Infinite. Then there are lines. Okay. Lines basically are depicted like this. You put an arrow on both the ends, which means that here there were two ends. So for example, this is point A on this line, this is point B. So AB is a line segment, but this whole thing is line AB. The only thing is that you will have to denote it like this, like put two arrows. I know it is kind of stupid, but yeah, you put two arrows and it becomes a line. Other way of naming a line is that you put a small letter to depict a name. So you can call it line L, you can call it small A, B, C, D, anything. That becomes the name of the line, passing through points A and B. Obviously, length of the line is infinite because it can extend on both the sides. Now there are two types of lines. Okay, there are two types of lines. One is parallel line and one is intersecting line. What are parallel and what is intersecting? See, intersecting lines, obviously, as the name suggests, is that when two lines, intersect with each other, and two lines can only be intersecting at one point. They cannot go and intersect again. So two lines, if they have to intersect, they will intersect only at one point. Parallel lines are two lines, basically the distance between them is always constant throughout. So आप इसको extend करते जाइए, the distance will continue to be the same. Now there are some lines which might not intersect as you draw here, for example, but they are not parallel lines, because on one side distance is increasing, okay, but other side it is decreasing. Now definition of lines is that it is infinite, so this line will extend, okay, this is also extend, and it will meet somewhere. Therefore these are not parallel lines. Parallel lines is that it doesn't matter how much you extend them, they will never meet each other. So what are the examples of parallel lines? So have you seen railway tracks? They are parallel lines. You know, there is a fixed distance between the two tracks and they go on. So parallel lines. Your scale, your ruler, both the edges of your scale, they are parallel lines. But there is this, I forgot what it is called, in your geometry box only. There are these triangular sort of scales. I forgot its name, it's almost embarrassing. Yeah, this one, set squares. Yeah. Now you see that, you know, this line and this line, it is intersecting here. So that's an example of intersecting line. Okay. Sometimes it happens is that some of the things, I haven't seen a geometry box in a long, I don't know how many years, which is why I just forgot the name, that we used to call it set squares. Ray basically is half of, I don't know why we even study ray, because one end is a line, point A, okay, and B, and then the other end is like endless. Like rays of sun, you can say that sun is one point and then all the rays are emitting out of it, something like that, or a torch. So these are examples of ray. Practical usage, I don't think there is any, except for maybe when after 5 years you will study vectors and all, you will learn about it a little bit, or when you will learn optics, light in physics, then you will learn about it a bit. But from a geometry point of view, it's okay, like that's the concept and that's enough to know. Curve, doodle. So I have written it because only when I went to college I realized I learned doodle as a word. Okay, so for us it was just loose hand drawing, okay, and then somebody said that, you know, it's called doodling, you make something on your scribble and stuff. And I was going through the book yesterday and I realized that doodle is being used in the NCERT book, so I just put it out here. See, now anything that you can draw is a curve. This is a curve, okay, and then there are, first of all, there are two types of curves. Okay, this is a curve, it's a simple curve. If a curve does not intersect itself, it's a simple curve. So this is a simple curve, this is a simple curve. But if I were to draw it like that, it is intersecting, okay, then it is not a simple curve, it's a complex curve. What does it mean? See, these are just nomenclatures, maybe your school will ask, which is why I am just putting it out here. When a curve is closed like this, it's called closed curve, and all the everything inside it, it's called region, which also includes the boundary, okay. So this boundary plus the area inside is region, and then you define the position of a point, okay. So this thing, either this is inside the region or this is outside the region. So I hope that it's fairly simple, you know. Like I said, most of the things you will be able to see and therefore easy to understand. Now let's quickly jump to polygons. Polygons are basically, you know, closed shapes which are made out of line segments. That's it. If there are 3 sides, it's a triangle. If there are 4 sides, it's a quadrilateral. If there are 5 sides, it's a pentagon. If there are 6 sides, it's a hexagon. I forgot what we used to call the 7 side. 8, I remember, it's octagon. Okay, so that's polygon. These are all polygons, okay, because there are multiple sides to it. And there are vertices, okay, so these are sides. All the corners, they are called vertices or vertex, okay. So triangle will have 3 vertices, you know, quadrilateral will have 4, pentagon will have 5, like this. Not There's no rocket science, you don't need a teacher to tell you. Now diagonals. Whenever you draw a line segment, okay, connecting two opposite vertices or two non consecutive vertices. So this and this, they are consecutive vertices. Okay, this is vertex 1, this is vertex 2, this is vertex 3. So if you draw a line between 1 and 2, it will be a side. But if you draw a line between 1 and 3, it will be a diagonal. Similarly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You draw a line here, it becomes a diagonal. You draw a line here, it becomes a diagonal. But this and this, they are sides. Okay. And similarly with 2 to 4, it's a diagonal. Then 2 to 5, it's a diagonal. Then 3 to 1 we have already done. 3 to 4, 3 to 2, 3 to 5 we will put. Now 5 we don't need to put because all we have already figured out all the diagonals starting with 5. So it will be a double counting. Right? And that these are all diagonals, the ones that you see inside. So that's the concept. Okay. And you should know how to learn to count diagonals and all. The trick is that you start, you number the points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you start with first and you draw all the diagonals. Okay, then you freeze it. Then you start with the second, then you draw all the diagonals, new ones, then you freeze it. By the time you will come to 5, okay, most probably you would have drawn all the diagonals, and by the time you come to 6, which is the last vertex here, you would have drawn all the diagonals. So do it for yourself and find out. Now we will talk about angles. What are angles? Angles in Hindi, they are also known as kona. Okay. So when two line segments intersect or lines intersect, okay, wherever there is a vertex, wherever there is an intersection, there is an angle. So this is an angle, this is an angle, this is an angle, this is an angle, this is an angle. That is angle, right? Okay. So let me just draw this. Let's call it the x-axis. Okay. So x-axis is generally considered to be a line, okay, which is horizontal, and y-axis is the line which is considered to be vertical in a plane. It is only from a perspective of understanding angles. Now this, if you do a full rotation around a point, okay, this entire measure of the angle is 360 degree. It is 360 degree. So that is an इसको axiom बोलते हैं. Axiom basically एक assumption होता है maths में, for which typically there are no proofs. So this is an axiom that 360 degree will be the measure around the point of an angle, of the complete angle will be 360. So if you come and ask me, is that, sir, why is it not 100 degree? So it is the way we put it, it's like we could have put it 100 also, right? And then each of these angles would have been 25 degrees. But mathematicians many centuries ago, they said ki no, it will be 360 degrees, and therefore it is 360 degrees. And right now I am not telling you radians and all, because I will cover it later when we do higher geometry. And as you can see, it is divided into 4 parts. So 360 by 4, each of these are 90 degree, and they are called right angles. 90 degree is called right angle. Any angle, okay, now any angle. So basically we will start looking at the angle starting here. That's how we measure angle, in anti-clockwise direction. So if there is a line segment which starts at horizontal, and so if it starts here, the starting angle is 0, okay, then it keeps moving. Let's say here, somewhere here it is 45 degrees. Till that time it reaches here, the 90 degree or just less than 90 degree, this angle will be called acute angle. Okay? So any angle which is greater than 0 degree and less than 90 degree is acute angle. 90 degree is not acute. 90 degree is the right angle. Okay. The moment you hit 90 degree, it becomes right angle. Now this line, this continues to move. Okay, let's say the moment it crosses over 90 degree, just about, okay, 90 point something something, this angle, okay, then this angle will be 90 plus something and up till here, let's say somewhere here, okay, just for an example, this angle, okay, starting from here till here, let's say it is 160 degree, this will be known as obtuse angle. Okay, so obtuse angle is basically greater than 90 but less than 180 degree. That is obtuse angle. Okay, and the moment it comes here, it becomes 180 degree. Okay, and then the moment it crosses 180 degree, the angle basically becomes like this. Okay, so this becomes, and we call it reflex angle. Okay, so that's how we define all the angles. It will become reflex angle. So these are the definitions of angles you have to understand. So as you can see, like I said, in geometry you will see it. Now we are going to get into triangle, quadrilaterals, okay, some basic stuff. So first let's look into triangle, and basically we will do two things. So basis the length of the sides, there are three types of triangles. Okay, there is a triangle in which all the three sides are of different lengths, L1, L2, L3. Such triangles are known as scalene triangles. Okay, all the three lines are different. Then there is a triangle in which two sides are equal. This side is equal to this side, but this side is different. It's called isosceles triangle. Okay, so where two sides are equal, in which what happens is that these two angles are also equal. Why and how we will come to later, not needed right now. And then there is a triangle in which all the three sides are equal, and in this all the three angles are also equal. It is called equilateral triangle. Okay, it is called equilateral triangle. So these are three types of triangles: scalene, isosceles, equilateral. Scalene triangle, obviously three sides are different in length, all three angles will also be different. Now basis angles, there is another division of triangles, okay, classification of triangles rather. One is called the right angle triangle, ABC, right? So this is right angle triangle. If one angle is 90 degree, then the triangle is called right angled triangle. Right angled triangle. That is right angle triangle. Now understand that right angle triangle can now the question that you can ask is that, can there be two right angles in a triangle? The answer is no. You try to make two right angles. See, you take a line, you need three sides. You take a line, you create one 90 degree here. Okay, the moment you create another 90 degree on this one, it will become parallel to this. These two lines will never meet. Hence you cannot have two right angles in a triangle. Also a triangle, all three angles of a triangle are equal to 180 degree. Sum of the three angles of a triangle is 180 degree. How? I will prove it later, but right now just understand this, that if it is a triangle, the sum of internal angles is 180 degree. It is very simple. Okay. Now let's come to quadrilaterals. there are different types of quadrilaterals. Okay, one is just basic quadrilateral, no worries, four sides, normal quadrilateral. Then there is a quadrilateral in which all the four sides are equal and all the four angles are 90 degrees. Such quadrilaterals are known as squares. Okay, all the four sides are equal, all the four angles are equal. Then there are quadrilaterals in which all four angles are 90 degree, okay, which means all four angles are equal, but opposite sides are equal. Okay, these are known as rectangles. Okay, so basically all squares are rectangles because all four angles are 90 degree, opposite sides are equal, but all rectangles are not squares. Simple. Then there is rhombus, okay, in which all the four sides are equal, okay, and they are parallel to each other. It is called rhombus. Then there is this quadrilateral which is called parallelogram, in which opposite sides are parallel to each other. Okay, opposite sides are parallel to each other and opposite sides are equal to each other. That is parallelogram. So what is the difference between, let's say, a parallelogram and a rectangle? It is not necessary that so a rectangle is a parallelogram, but all parallelograms are not rectangles. As simple as that. So this angle may or may not be 90 degree. For a parallelogram, what is important is that opposite sides are parallel and opposite sides are equal. That's it. Then there is this thing called trapezium, in which one set of opposite sides are parallel to each other. That's it. Then it becomes a trapezium. So these are the different types of quadrilaterals. Okay. Now let's come to circle. Circle is absolutely round. This is the center. This thing from center to circumference, or the perimeter outside, this is called radius. You double that, this is called diameter. Okay. This is the radius. Let's say if I join any 2 points on a circle with a straight line, this is a chord. So now tell me, which is the longest chord in a circle? It will be the diameter. And see, it's very simple to visualize. This will be small, this will be larger, larger, larger. The moment you come to the center, if it passes through the center, this is going to be the largest chord, because then again length will start to reduce. And diameter also joins 2 points on the circle. So a diameter is the largest chord of the circle. Very simple to understand. Now, if there is a chord, okay, the chord basically will divide the circle in 2 parts. And these parts are called, the ones that I am shading, it is called segment. Yeah, it is called segment. So the diameter basically will divide the circle in 2 equal chords, 2 equal segments. Very simple. Now inside a circle, this is the center. It will be an angle. Now we have just learned that this is a point and the entire angle around this will be 360. Okay. Now if this is the diameter, okay, we know that this angle will be 180, right? So understand that all these angles will be less than 180 degree, right? So this angle will be less than 180 degree. We have to understand that. And this thing is known as, this piece here, the angle along with this slice, which looks like a slice of the cake, this is called sector. So a circle is nothing. When we do the full sector, okay, then basically circle is also a sector, but with 360 degrees. This is a sector with whatever the size of the angle is. So if you have to find the area of a sector, for 360 degree, whatever is the area of the circle, you just, for example, this is 60 degree right here. So the area of this sector will be 60 degree by 360 degree into whatever is the area of the circle. And what is the area of the circle we will cover later, but just understand from a concept point of view. So this is all in circle. I mean, there is this whole thing which is running outside this perimeter, it's called circumference. Yeah, one important thing which I want to tell you is that there is this constant called pi. So pi is basically defined as a ratio of the circumference of the circle, okay, divided by the diameter of the circle. And for all the circles, this ratio is a constant. And this ratio is known as pi. And the rough value of pi is 22 by 7 for the purpose of problem solving, or it is equal to 3.14, and it goes on. Okay, so that's the value of pi, right? But what actually is pi? Pi is nothing but it is a ratio between the circumference, okay, and the diameter of the circle. And for any circle, large, for this circle and this circle and this circle, this ratio between the circumference and the diameter for that circle, it will always be constant, which is pi, and the rough value is this 22 by 7 or 3.14. So remember that. And if you have to draw a circle, it's fairly simple. Just go to your geometry box, take out your compass, fix one end, and then just rotate, which means that this radius is constant. This is always constant. So circle is basically nothing but you fix a point which is the center, and then you draw constant. All the points on the circle will be at a constant distance from the center, and this distance is known as radius. I think that covers it. So I hope you enjoyed. These were the basic geometrical concepts, and I just wanted you guys to learn about it, understand it, visualize it. You can read about it today. Internet is full of information. So thank you for stopping by, watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please show it to other people who might benefit from it. And if you have any feedback, there's my email ID. Please go ahead and write to me. Thanks so much.